Hey, I'm here spontaneous real quick because the response came out today. Dewan, hit me up, Dewan. I gotta talk to you. The response came out today. Excuse me, I'm eating lunch. I'm about to get ready for work, but I gotta bring this first. So let's jump right into it. Let's hit some music. Let's go. I'm eating a Beyond Burger.
Well, stand up, stretch out your hands. One leg represent the dream. I'm reaching out to the poor people this week and no. I'm reaching out to the fortunate who can build their homes. I'm reaching out to the one who seems to have lost their way. And I'm calling on all the ones who can show them a brighter day. I believe in they can achieve anything. So lift your voice and give it everything. Now let your heart see. Love to America, every family spread some love. Enough faith and a little hope. I believe in the hope. It's time to open our eyes and see that all we need is you and me. Unity is like harmony. So let me see. Stretch your hands across the world. Hands across the world. Hands across the world. Stretch your hands across the world. Hands across the world. Hands across the world. Stretch your hands across the world. I'm reaching out to all of the hoods on the streets everywhere. I'm reaching out to all the leaders, show the world that you care. You can't go no more, you've given up, and your energy's running low. I'm reaching
What's
out
up, Levi?
to
I'm
the
going live.
pastors, say the word and keep us strong.
Yeah, come to my live. I'm already up and loaded. Yeah.
Across the wall, don't let anyone it's the one eight project, my desire. The power of love you cannot deny. Let's go, people, it's time to go higher. Spread your wings out the league, you can fly. We can do anything if we believe. Let me see you dance if you got victory. If we come together, we can make history. So let me see you breathe. Put your hands across. Let me see. Put your hands across the world.
It's here, y'all. The rebuttal. United States versus Robert Kelly. Case number 19-286. Let me get this out of my mouth. Dear Judge Donnelly, we respectfully submit this letter as R. Kelly's reply in support of his most recent request from release from pretrial detention, at least on a temporary basis. The government once again attempts to prop up and excuse the failed actions of the MCC Chicago in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. Defending the MCC Chicago is getting harder and harder to do, and the government's attempts to vouch for it ignores the facts. In any event, as accurately predicted by Mr. Kelly and his counsel to this court weeks ago, in the context of these bond motions, the COVID-19 crisis at the MCC Chicago has grown exponentially and will continue to do so, while the government and this court continue to turn a blind eye to the situation. Indeed, at the inception of these motions, the MCC Chicago was publicly proclaiming that it was doing everything possible to combat COVID-19, within its walls, and that it had no confirmed positive cases at all. Just as suddenly, the MCC Chicago was ultimately forced to admit the report that its zero numbers were really 26 positive cases between detainees and staff. Ambulances came and individuals were removed and hospitalized. Subsequently, the MCC Chicago reported numbers became 48 positive detainees, along with 26 personnel. Ambulances came and individuals were removed and hospitalized just as fast. The MCC Chicago's number of positive cases for detainees alone has now jumped to more than 108. Ambulances came and individuals were removed and hospitalized. According to the government's continued assurances to this court that Mr. Kelly and the detainees are getting all the protection they need, and apparently from the government's perspective, all that they deserve, rings hollow and is entirely disingenuous. The fact is that even soap is in short supply. Masks are inadequate and need to be repeatedly reused without being cleaned. And the MCC simply does not have enough tests to make an accurate account. After all, thank you, Ms. Orman. After all, the numbers are constrained by the number of actual tests that are being given. The fact is that the BOP numbers cannot be trusted. Testing at BOP facilities has varied widely. The BOP acknowledges that some facilities are simply not testing for COVID-19. That means that any facility that self-reports zero cases may simply not be testing for the virus. See United States versus Asara. That's a case law. Noting that where there are no reported cases in the facility, absent more information about how much testing the BOP is conducting, it is possible that undetected cases are present in the facility. Second, all of the BOP facilities where people are sick, dead, or dying started out with zero reported cases, and the situation turned deadly quickly. Comparing the situation in BOP facilities to what is happening in the rest of the country only puts the crisis into starker contrast. In BOP facilities, even with the fudging of numbers, there are 12.84 COVID infections per 1,000 people, as compared with 3.51 infections per 1,000 people in the United States. And even this number is plainly wrong. It's plainly wrong because of gross under testing. Testing matters. out of 2,700 tests conducted nationwide, the BOP, nearly 2,000 came back positive, roughly 70%. If this figure is generalizable to the broader population in the BOP's care, all of the people are in grave danger. We should not feel comfortable. We should not feel comforted by a facility reporting 0 cases if that facility is not testing any of the people in its care. Moreover, because of how quickly COVID-19 spreads in the detention environment, facilities with 0 cases can become deadly hotspots within a matter of days or weeks. Thus, the government's attempts in this response brief to quibble about whether Mr. Kelly's medical numbers really make him diabetic or whether he is merely pre-diabetic entirely misses the point. First of all, that quibbling ignores the fact that he is going to cross the threshold into diabetic and soon. The government's response otherwise utterly fails to address this very real medical risk. Medical consensus is inequitable. Diabetes, when coupled with other health conditions, greatly increases the complications from COVID-19. It is difficult to manage diabetes on a prison standard menu. Prison food is sort of the opposite of what would be medically appropriate diabetes diet. Christy Thompson. When your insulin pump is contraband. The Marshall Project. That's a case law, along with a website. In addition, in recent weeks, there has been significant data that indicates the mere contraction of the virus can have a long-term, if not permanent, effect on the lungs, resulting in irreversible damage to the pulmonary system. Wow. Beyond that, Mr. Kelly is at substantial risk and in danger, regardless of whether his diagnostic numbers firmly put him in any defined medical category. He is at risk and in danger because he is housed at the MCC Chicago. For that reason, he must be released. For that reason, he must be released. For that reason, he must be released. For that reason, he must be released, at least on a temporary basis. What more is there to wait for? His continued detention at the MCC Chicago makes it a virtual certainty that he will be felled by COVID-19. The only question then will be whether he lives or dies. Maybe at that point, the government will finally admit that this has been a failed experiment in Russian roulette with Mr. Kelly's health, and that the MCC Chicago's efforts are not really getting the job done. That's a case law. That's case law. Defense counsel in their in their arguments in support of Mr. Kelly's motion for release. For example, the government characterizes defense counsel's claim that Mr. Kelly does not possess a passport as untrue. The government offers no basis and certainly no evidence for that contention, nor is there any basis or evidence to make such an accusation. Mr. Kelly's passport is in the possession of law enforcement in Cook County, Illinois. In any event, the government once again entirely misses the point with respect to the issue of risk of flight. It is exceedingly difficult to even travel through the barren airports of the United States during this pandemic, much less for someone who is not as internationally recognizable as Mr. Kelly. The government's pathologically weak response to that is, well, maybe Mr. Kelly could wear a mask to disguise himself from the public. The government's desperate arguments border on the silly. Additionally, it would be prejudicial if the court refuses to consider that Mr. Kelly does not have a criminal record, or to find that he is likely to flee. Such conclusions are unfounded. and there has been no evidence presented to this court that has established that Mr. Kelly is likely to flee. The government next argues that Mr. Kelly could leave his home on foot, by car, or public transport, heading in any direction for the indeterminate amount of time before being apprehended by law enforcement. Of course, the government offers no factual support for that contention either, nor is there any evidence to suggest this would be the likely result. That argument also flies in the face of the fact that within the Northern District of Illinois, where Mr. Kelly would be on release from detention, electronic monitoring and home confinement are regularly and successfully used for all types of federal criminal detainees, including rich and poor, black and white, the famous and the unknown. In fact, the location where Mr. Kelly would be housed is less than 1 mile from the federal courthouse in Chicago, and close to both local police stations and members of federal law enforcement, as well as even the Chicago Police Department own headquarters. That location does not present any unique transportation issues. Moreover, the electronic monitoring, home confinement, or GPS tracking any movement by Mr. Kelly would be known to law enforcement before he even hits the elevator of the building, which would hardly provide him with a handy and effective escape route, as argued by the government in its response. Nonetheless, in support of the government's assertion that electronic monitoring is ineffective, the cities, it cites two 1993 court opinions. Surely the government does not believe that the technology of today has not advanced from that of nearly 30 years ago. Electronic monitoring and GPS are routinely used because they are highly reliable and effective means of ensuring that the defendant is monitored and appears in court. To the extent of government parrots, this court's opinion that the judicial system oversight capabilities are curtailed. Mr. Kelly and his counsel repeat the concerns raised in his motion. Where is there factual or record support? For this, there is none. Certainly, that argument has not been raised by either the U.S. Attorney's Office or pretrial services in the Northern District of Illinois. Simply put, there's no evidence that pretrial services is incapable of monitoring Mr. Kelly, nor is there any record evidence that he is likely to flee, nor is there any evidence that he poses a danger to the public. These are mere speculative arguments put forth by the government. Speculation is not enough. See United States versus Lee. That's a case law. Relaxation conditions. United States and Obama. Okay. Granted relief. That's all case law. Okay. In addition to substituting speculation for evidence, this argument fails to address whether the presumption of dangerous is rebutted given 1, the nature and circumstances of the crime charged; 2, the weight of the evidence against the defendant; 3, the history and characteristics of the defendant, including family ties, employment, community ties, past conduct; and 4, the nature and seriousness of the danger to the community or to an individual. That's another case law. Furthermore, the government's attacks upon defense counsel, Mr. Anton, are quite simply unprofessional and offensive, where the prosecutors imply that Mr. Anton would somehow use the small amount of funds that have been raised for Mr. Kelly's defense fund to help him flee. Let me read that again. Furthermore, the government's attacks upon the defense counsel, my guy, Mr. Doug Anton, are quite simply unprofessional and offensive, where the prosecutors implied that Mr. Douglas Anton would somehow use the small amount of funds that have been raised for Mr. Kelly's defense fund to help him flee. First of all, to impugn the integrity of a fellow member of the bar in that manner is frankly unconsignable. Moreover, it is obvious the government monitors these fundraising activities. The government even recently went so far as to dispatch agents to interview some of the involved with those fundraising efforts. Yes, they did. So the prosecutor, wait a minute, I like that. The government even recently went so far as to dispatch agents to interview some of the involved with those fundraising efforts. So the prosecutors are well aware that less than $10,000 has been raised. So the prosecutors are well aware that less than $10,000 has been raised. To put the government's unprofessional attack in context would be attuned to defense counsel arguing, likewise, without any basis, that they fear the government is going to hide witnesses so that they will not testify in favorable manner to Mr. Kelly at trial. That would certainly seem to be sanctionable conduct. The government also repeatedly appears to rely upon the fact that Mr. Kelly is a beloved public figure with fans as a basis to keep him incarcerated. Previously, the government suggested without any support by way of evidence whatsoever that Mr. Kelly was somehow responsible for others' social media posting. The government actually well knows that Mr. Kelly is no more responsible for social media posting attacking those who side with the government than the government is responsible for posting attacking Mr. Kelly. There are many of the latter variety. The same is true with respect to fans who want to put money on his books at the MCC Chicago so that he can buy Cheetos out of a machine. In other words, to suggest those same fans are going or could bankroll his escape is other foolishness and has no evidentiary support in the record. Lastly, the notion floated by the government that Mr. Kelly would attempt to intimidate or persuade witnesses is again unsupported by any facts. Were he to do so, those individuals would immediately notify the government and Mr. Kelly would end up back in the slammer. The best evidence that he would not try to obstruct justice is that for the 2 years prior to being indicted, and while all of the hubbub was going on about Mr. Kelly, including the Mute R. Kelly campaign, the airing of Surviving R. Kelly documentary, the production of the second Surviving R. Kelly documentary, the cancellation of his live music performances, and the cancellation of his music streaming services, Mr. Kelly never once tried to obstruct justice or influence anyone or anything, including the witnesses in this case. Beyond that, the government is well aware that even after Mr. Kelly was indicted in Illinois in state court, and before he was indicted in federal court in Chicago and New York, he never once attempted to influence anyone, obstruct justice, or to flee. It should be pointed out that all of the alleged victims known as Jane Does have remained concealed by the government. To date, defense counsel has not been provided with all of the identities of the alleged victims. It is unequivocal that the coronavirus pandemic has created a change in circumstances which permits the court to reconsider Mr. Kelly's release. As a result of the pandemic, Mr. Kelly cannot adequately prepare for trial. The presumption of innocence to which Mr. Kelly is entitled should not be ignored based on the finding that Mr. Kelly is likely to flee. Whereas here, there's no evidence in the record which leads to that conclusion, and denial of release is tantamount to him being found guilty. Mr. Kelly should not be afforded any less consideration as a pretrial defendant than the multitude of the other defendants who have been released. even post-conviction based on the pandemic. For similar or worse crimes that would represent desperate treatment and would be extremely prejudicial to Mr. Kelly's due process rights. This court should therefore grant Mr. Kelly release from pretrial detention with conditions. Respectfully submitted, Greenberg, Mike Leonard. Certificate of service, the undersigned states. There y'all have it. The defense team came through again with another strong reply. So on that note, I'm going to play a little song. I'm going to play a little song for you. And when I play this little song, I just want y'all to sit back and think of how we can really put the positivity back on the spin of things. Here we go.
I can feel this love, yeah. I can feel this drink, yeah. I can feel a good vibe coming over me. Oh, I can feel the party, yeah. It's somebody's birthday, happy birthday. I can feel a groove, yeah. I feel a DJ, oh, yeah. I can feel joy. I can feel trust around me. I can feel people, and I can feel the love. And it's all in the air now. And it's all in the air now. It's all in the air now. It's all in the air now. I can feel a high, yeah, and I can feel a shot, so I feel all the ladies in me looking so hot. I feel them on top, yeah, just like a good day. It feels like everybody is happy, and it makes me feel great. Oh, and it's all in the air now. Yeah. And it's all in the air now. Yeah. Oh, it's all in the air now. Yeah. Oh, it's all in the air now. Oh, so come on, let's stop all this hate and let's start celebrating. Life is too short for this drama, pain, and madness. Let's have drinks and party up until we see the morning. Let's take a toast to change, cause I feel it's coming. It's all in the air now. Oh, it's all in the air now. Oh, it's all in the air now. I can feel it, yeah, all around. It's all in the air now. And I'm so glad that the spirit found. It's all in the air now. Can you feel it in the air? Oh yeah, it's all in the air now. Blessings and miracles, yeah. I'm claiming it. Oh, I'm claiming it. Yeah, I'm claiming it. Oh, no, I'm claiming it. Yeah.
Hold on. You're live on Live Raw and Uncut with your host, Actor Dana J. How can I help you, caller?
Hey, Dana, this is Sylvia. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good. I was just calling just to give my input on what you just read.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to first say hi to the chat room. Hi, everybody.
Sylvia said, hi, everybody.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hear me? Can you guys hear me loud and clear? First, I want to say that that Michael laid it out. He laid it out so well because he hit on all the points that was needed. I just also want to talk about that little small part where he says about the government goes and interview people regarding the fundraising effort. Weren't they saying that you were stealing funds from the defense fund?
Yeah, it was in it.
Didn't also Doug mention that the funds are being monitored by the government?
Yeah.
Oh, all those accusations that some individuals have been saying, like you bought a car, you stole $40,000, all this extra stuff, and what about that?
Everybody's gonna be quiet, or they're gonna say, "I paid them to say that." That's the next thing. I paid them to say that.
You paid the government?
I guess.
Okay, all right.
Because now I'm an informant, and because I said I'm gonna make sure Tyson goes to jail.
Yeah, but you know what? This is the thing that gets on my nerve with all these false narratives that's being presented, and individuals are sitting around here believing like they don't have common sense that God has given them. Common sense would say, if you were in part of a big case like this is a high-profile case. The world knows about this particular case. Why would you jeopardize your livelihood, your being able to be free to steal money? I know they accuse me of helping you steal the money too. So they need to let me know where that money is, because I work like so many jobs. So I don't want to work that many jobs. They could tell me where that money is so I can go get it, so I don't have to work. Because please tell me where that money is.
Dana brought a truck, and I don't even like SUVs.
I know.
Make it make sense.
I just want to put in my 2 cents where people need to use their brain that God has given to them and not let it be wasted. Because
now people,
not
to cut you off, but I'm sorry, but now people can really look back and be like, you know what? Dana was telling the truth the whole time. Yeah. It just seemed like I'm being cleared off of everything, but the previous thing that the government is saying, you see Don Russell's name popping up in everything. You see his actions popping up in everything. Help me make that make sense. But you know what?
But I'm glad the people on our side know the truth.
Right. I'm definitely glad that.
As I said, dummies, because they're not using their brains. Yeah, the dummies on the other side believe in the crap that Dubowski and Kevin dumbass says. You know,
I'm gonna be honest with you, Sylvia. Anytime that the supposed to be ops is sitting back laughing, saying, "We know Dana ain't taking nothing," and that the narratives that I was taking came from this side, I have to sit back and wonder about this side. It makes me sit back and wonder, like, I'm glad I don't go hard for this side. I'm glad I go hard for Robert Sylvester Kelly. Because if I went hard for this side, I would have told everybody kiss my ass and left a long time ago. Because there's no loyalty on this side. Everybody wants something for nothing. Everybody wants something for nothing on this side.
They saying that you send the recordings to the government and all that. If you look at
No, Sylvia, watch this.
I just want to make a comment. Hold on.
Go ahead.
If you look at Kevin's live, that particular live, he himself put the timestamp where to look. So I don't understand, if the government is looking at every single live that's going on, because they're paying attention to everything, they can go to Kevin's page and see, okay, let me not waste the time of what's going on. Let me just go where he says go look at you lying to Doug. I mean, people got to use their brains. Seriously, they have to use it. But Kevin actually put it in his post where to go look when Doug called in on his live. So
after he contacted Doug for him to call in.
Exactly. So I don't understand it. I mean, it's a game he's playing. I guess he needs Cash App, he needs money and all that kind of stuff. So I understand. That's his way of making his living.
I don't understand,
Not
Sylvia.
Sell negativity, and negativity is going to get people to come to his page, and they're going to donate because he needs that money. He don't want to go out and work 10 jobs like me. So he wants to lay on his back and get money going. That's the way it looks like, you know? And the sad thing is, my Bible said a man that don't work don't eat. So for this individual to come begging women for food, for shelter, there's something wrong with that.
But you know what their response is? These psychotic ass women. You know what their response is? Is we rock with you, Kevin. We believe in you, Kevin. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna say this, and you'll never hear me say this again. Even the Boski get out and work.
Yeah.
That would say something to me like, he say, I don't know the Boski. I met him through this fight, but that's my brother. Your brother actions should, rub off on you a little bit. At least the Boski get out and work, whether he work at night, whether he work during the day, at least he do get out and work. But this nigga, and then I'm gonna say something about me sending shit to the feds. No, I didn't send nothing then. But Kevin, I'm gonna show you something that's gonna fuck you up. This right here is your Bible, brother. You see where it's plugged in at? Everything that you have done will go to them. Like I said, I don't do no capping. I'm separating you from Rob. You gonna stand on your own. Rob don't got nothing to do with this shit. I don't know you. Rob don't know you. Doug don't know you. Everybody gave you a chance. I was stupid enough to give you a chance twice, and you fucked it up. You will never get that shit again. I promise you. I promise you. You will never get that from me again. And you gonna stand on your square since you're a Mason. You gonna stand on your square. You gonna stand on your square. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Passionately Gangster. If Angelo turned him in, he's supposed to. Nigga, you harassing his daughter. You are harassing his daughter. Let's talk about when your son was at grown man house and raised over $1,500 and left with a computer and left with some food and Tupperware and everybody had a good time. That was you that put that bone in his back of hate because you wasn't invited, nigga. Let's keep it 100. I don't feel sorry for you, bro. I want to see you go to jail.
And his son got more money than he did.
At first, I didn't want to see you go to jail. And me and Levi was about to get into it again. Because Levi was like, Dana, what the fuck? Here's what I'm going to say. I want to see you go to jail. Any man that don't have a relationship with his kids is not a fucking man. And I'm going to say that. I can call any of my kids and they will say, Dad, I love you. And I will say, I love you too. At the end of the day, any man who don't have a real relationship with his kids is not a man. And Ms. Juanita, and you said it, any woman that supports a know-nothing ass man needs to reassess herself.
That's true. That's true.
And his number one supporter is a woman and she pregnant.
Wow.
How you damn doing, Nikki Bowman?
Wow. But that says a lot about her and her self-esteem as a woman, you know?
But Nikki Bowman is don't get me wrong, she's a good person. She chases the negativity though. I want to know why.
Yeah, but her self-esteem, if you could allow a man not to work and you constantly giving into his pocket and he's not doing anything for you, no, there's something wrong with the self-esteem.
But wait.
I'm not trying to talk negative about her. It's just something's wrong.
But wait. They say I don't have no commentary. Even when I'm not talking about R. Kelly, I'm bringing facts and other things. What can you bring? If you stop talking about Dana, if you stop talking about Hollywood Next, you don't have shit. What do you have? You got on there and start rapping for 2 hours and can't rap. What do you have?
Toy say he has all the subscribers to pay his bill, I guess.
Man, when a nigga sat back and said, tap on in, tap on in. I want to thank all the R. Kelly subscribers here, but this not about R. Kelly. This Kevin's blessings. And then he keeps saying it. My name come before R. Kelly. Well, if your name come before R. Kelly, why you keep begging R. Kelly supporters to pay your bills? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
Well, I'm going to get off so other people could call. I just want to put in my little 2 cents in this thing. And you have been vindicated, Dana. The government has vindicated you because they've been...
Hold on. Hello? I'm on my way around here. All right. And that was my supervisor, and she's not an R. Kelly fan. And she said, wake up. I thank you. You helped me see the light. I said, I'm on my way around there. She said, we will talk. I got the motion. My whole fight is to make people see that there's 2 sides to a story. Not one. There's 2 sides to a story. That's all. I don't got no beef with nobody. I don't like nobody. But hey, every time they want to throw stones, the government always say, you know what, I don't even like this little lazy-eyed motherfucker, but I got to put the truth out there. So my question is, how did the defense fund that go straight to Rob, that go straight to Doug, raise over $40,000, but then they come back and say only $10,000 has been raised?
Yeah, but most people is giving $1. Because remember, Doug even said there was so many dollar checks. That was ridiculous.
That's the point that people don't understand. Doug got mad about that shit. Doug said, man, people just sending $1, Dana. I said, yeah, it was $1 for the king. And then he started laughing like, I understand.
But I want to see those people who supposedly send 8,000. I want to see the canceled checks on those.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's what I want to see now too. I want to see the fake company M1 investigator people, or the ones that I pulled up and nothing came up. I want to see those because I believe that I know who's behind that.
Yeah. But anyway, congratulations. You have been vindicated on this part of this response, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. And thank you, Sylvia.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
All right. So anybody want to call in? Call in. I'm just trying to tell you what's going on. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Chicago, Illinois announces 2,270 new COVID cases. 136 new additional COVID cases is in the MCC federal facility. And because people are going to say, well, Dana, you joking. Show you. I got more than one device going at one time. Yeah, that's my question. Who stole the money and how? Who stole the money and how? I know Kevin took some money that was given to him for him to put in the goddamn in defense fund. I know that much. Hello. I'm live. Why, what's up? You stupid as hell. You stupid. Let me call you back. These folks crazy as hell. Where's the woman at? She filed charges, Anime. She filed a police report and she filed charges. It's all about to come up. I'm not playing.
Dr. Judy Mikovits has been called one of the most accomplished scientists of her generation.
Okay, I watched it. I watched it. I watch it. I know that's gonna be deep. I watch it. Thank y'all. So who was saying money is missing from the defense fund? I don't know. That's what I want to know. Who's saying it? Hey, Brooke. You good? I'm not eating. Man, that Beyond Burger was good as hell. That's all I want to know. Who's stealing money? Well, while I got y'all here, I'm going to do this real quick. Real quick while I got y'all here. This is why I don't have to steal anything. What I got going on, just giving y'all a little food for thought. I want y'all to look at the screen. I want to look at the screen. I have some new shoes. My new edition is coming out. And I'm back on my grind with my shoe line. Now, the color is a crazy color for the summer. It's the pink, gray, and white. These are the Dana J2s. I want y'all to look at them. I'm gonna scroll through for y'all. On the tongue, you're gonna get my logo. That's what the overshoe look like from the top. This would look like underneath. This is the shoes. This is the box. And I have my slogan, one of my slogans that says, "Don't show up when I blow up." That's the box with Dana J2 right here with the slogan there. Y'all see the back patch, Dana J2s. So I'm going to do like 4 more creations. I got some colors coming out. I just want to show y'all, and I'm going to go back through it. That's the box. You see the retail price of $179. It's coming straight from Italy. So they Italy-based shoes. I tell everybody, if you're going to order, get a size bigger. Like I say, if y'all want to support me, then support me. This money goes straight to the shoes. It don't even go to me. I just want y'all to be rocking some Dana J2s. That's all. It's going to be hot. But I ordered me some today. I will be rocking these in Miami. If my order get here in time, I will have them in Miami. Just giving y'all a heads up, food for thought. I thank y'all if y'all going to support. If y'all not going to support, I thank y'all for even thinking about support. That's all. Y'all know I keep it real. So I have some red and black ones too. But they $179, Brooke. Hey Brooke, I'll give you all the details because I'm gonna show you the black and red ones. When I come back later on, I'm gonna have the red and black ones up there too. So it is what it is. You know, I thank y'all for being here, and I'm about to go to work. So I'll be back at 7 o'clock showing y'all the red and black ones. All right. Peace.